Welcome to our latest news update. Today we will be discussing some of the most recent and shocking news stories from around the world. From a tragic hot air balloon accident in Mexico City to the closure of a famous big cat sanctuary in Florida. We have it all covered. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, a 911th caller has reported that staff at Covenant Medical Center in Texas were armed. This has caused concern and raised questions about the safety of patients and staff at the hospital. Next, Tiger King star Carole Baskin has announced that she will be closing her big cat rescue sanctuary in Florida and moving the animals to a new location. This news has come as a surprise to many fans of the show and animal lovers alike. In Japan, school closures are becoming more common as the population ages and the number of students decreases. The last students have now graduated from some schools, leaving many communities without a local school for the first time in decades. A shooting outside Trader Joe's in Los Angeles has left one person dead and 3 others seriously wounded. The incident has shocked the local community and raised concerns about gun violence in the United States. Finally, a husband and wife have tragically died in a hot air balloon fire over Mexico City ruins. Their daughter survived after jumping from a burning vessel. The family had posed for a family picture just moments before the accident. These are just a few of the stories we will be discussing in today's video. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Good evening and welcome to our news segment. Today we have a breaking news story from the Tennessee. A 911th caller reported that staff members at Covenant School were carrying firearms. This is a tragic event that has left 6 people dead, including 3 children. Our hearts go out to the families affected by the senseless act of violence.
Whoa, that's really scary. I can't imagine what those kids and their families are going through. But on a lighter note, have you guys seen the new TikTok dance craze? I think we should all learn it and do it on air.
As much as I would love to learn a TikTok dance, I think we should focus on the news at hand. It's concerning that a school will allow staff members to carry firearms. It raises questions about safety protocols and the potential for accidents or misuse.
Well, for one, I'm glad that I have my own private security team. I don't have to worry about carrying a gun myself. But in all seriousness, this is a tragic event, and we need to look at ways to prevent these types of incidents from happening in the future.
Absolutely, Alan. We need to have a serious conversation about gun control and how we can keep our schools and communities safe. It's not enough to just offer thoughts and prayers. We need action.
Speaking of action, have you guys seen the new action movie that just came out? It's got explosions and car chases and everything.
Eddie, I think we should stay focused on the news. This is a serious issue that requires our attention. We need to look at the root causes of gun violence and find solutions that work for everyone.
Well, I think we can all agree that we need to do something. Maybe we can invent a new technology that can detect when someone is about to commit a violent act and stop them before it happens.
That's an interesting idea, Alan. But in the meantime, we need to take action to prevent these types of tragedies from happening. We owe it to the victims and their families to do everything we can to keep them safe.
From armed staff to big cats, it seems like we're in for a wild ride. Speaking of which, let's talk about Carole Baskin and her big cat rescue sanctuary.
Well, looks like Carole Baskin is making some big moves. Closing down her big cat rescue sanctuary and moving the animals out of Florida. This is certainly a big change for her and her organization.
Yes, it's definitely a big change. But it seems like they have a plan in place to continue supporting the cats in the new location.
I must say, I'm quite impressed with the strategic thinking here. Moving the cats to a new location where they can be cared for at a lower cost, and using proceeds from selling the sanctuary property to fund species saving projects in the wild. It's a win-win situation.
Yes, and it's also worth noting that this move is in response to the Big Cat Public Safety Act, which was passed by Congress in 2021. This act bans unlicensed individuals from owning wild animals, and is expected to reduce the need for rescues like Big Cat Rescue in the coming years.
Well, I'm just glad that the cats are being taken care of. They deserve a good life, just like all animals.
Absolutely, KG. And it's great to see that Big Cat Rescue is partnering with Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge to ensure that the cats are well taken care of in their new home.
Indeed. And it's also worth noting that Big Cat Rescue will be helping to fund the building of the enclosures at Turpentine Creek, which is expected to cost first $8 million. This shows a commitment to the well-being of the cats, even in their new location.
Well, it seems like Carole Baskin is really taking the phrase out with the old, with the new to heart. She's even mentioned that it's time to be thinking about a transition to younger management to bring new energy to the organization. I guess we'll have to wait and see who takes the reins.
It's definitely an interesting time for the cat rescue. But I'm confident that they will continue to do great work in the future, and that the cats will be well taken care of.
From big cats to big books, it seems like everything is closing down these days. Next up, we have news of a different kind of graduation ceremony.
Well, folks, it looks like Japan is facing a serious problem with their birth rate. I mean, it's not like they can just abort babies, right?
Vera, that's not how it works. But seriously, this is a concerning issue. Japan's population has been declining for years, and now it's affecting their schools.
Indeed, KD. As we can see from this article from Reuters, school closures are spreading in aging Japan. This is a serious issue that needs to be addressed.
Well, I guess Japan needs to start building some baby-making factories. Or maybe we can send some robots to do the job.
All jokes aside, this is a complex issue. Japan's birth rate has been declining for years, and it's not just because of the cost of raising children. There are cultural and societal factors at play here.
Yeah. And it's in rural areas like Tennessee especially hard. I mean, who wants to move to a place with no schools?
The government has pledged to take unprecedented measures to boost the birth rate, including doubling the budget for child-related policies. But will it be enough?
Maybe they should just start offering free Tesla cars to families with kids. That'll get them interested in education.
All joking aside, this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Japan's smaller public schools are often the heart of rural towns and villages, and their closure will only exacerbate the problem of depopulation.
Well, looks like those graduates won't have to worry about school closures anymore. Unfortunately, the rest of us still have to worry about dodging bullets at the grocery store.
Well, folks, we have some breaking news tonight. One person was killed, and 3 others were seriously injured in a shooting outside Trader Joe's grocery store in Los Angeles. This is a tragic event that we must address with the utmost seriousness.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. My heart goes out to the victims and their families. It's just so sad.
Yes, it is indeed a tragedy. We must analyze the root causes of such violence and work towards a solution.
Well, I for one am glad that I live in a state where I can carry a flamethrower for self-defense. You never know when you might need it.
Let's not make light of this situation, Alan. We need to focus on finding ways to prevent these types of incidents from happening in the first place.
I agree with Eric. We need to come together as a society and find solutions to these problems.
Indeed, we must look at the underlying issues that lead to violence and address them head-on.
Well, I guess I'll have to stick to my trusty flamethrower for now. But in all seriousness, we need to find a way to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous individuals.
That's right, Alan. We need to have common sense gun laws that protect our communities while still respecting the Second Amendment.
And if all else fails, we can always just sing Kumbaya and hope for the best. Well, it seems like the universe is really trying to give us a break from the constant barrage of bad news. Oh wait, never mind. In other tragic events.
Well, this is certainly tragic news. My heart goes out to the family and loved ones of those who perished in this accident.
It's just so sad. I can't imagine what the daughter is going through right now.
It's a reminder that life is fragile, and we should cherish every moment we have.
Absolutely. And it's also a reminder that we need to continue to innovate and improve safety measures in all areas of transportation.
It's also important to note that this tragedy occurred in Mexico City, a city with a rich history and culture.
And it happened at the Teotihuacan ruins, which is a popular site for both locals and tourists to participate in balloon rides. Who knew a birthday surprise could turn into such a tragedy?
Hot air balloons have been around for centuries, but accidents like this remind us that we must always prioritize safety.
I couldn't agree more, Albert. We need to make sure that safety measures are up to par, or else we'll be left with a lot of hot air and no balloons.
In this article from the Misinternet, it reported that the cause of the accident is currently under investigation. We must wait for the facts to come out before jumping to any conclusions.